Inside the cell, how a prison guard became an inmate's secret weapon. The flashlight beam trembled as it cut through the dark prison hallway. Officer John Danny Stevens held his breath, the cold metal of a hidden cell phone pressing against his ribs under his uniform. He wasn't supposed to have it. He wasn't supposed to be here this late either, alone, nervous, and doing something that could destroy his life. From the other end of the cell block, a quiet knock echoed. 3 slow taps, a pause, then 2 quick ones, the signal. Danny's heart raced. It was inmate Marcus Hill, one of the most feared men inside the facility. He ran the yard like a businessman runs an empire. Drugs, phones, gambling, everything flowed through him. And tonight, Danny was part of it. Danny slid the phone through the food slot, his hands shaking. Marcus smiled from behind the bars. "Good work, officer. You'll get what you deserve." Those words sent chills down Danny's spine. Once, he had believed he was helping keep the prison safe. Now he was breaking the law inside the very place meant to stop it. Before this night, John Stevens had been known as one of the good guards. He was a family man, a husband, a father of 2, who believed in order and justice. But working in a high-security prison wasn't easy. The long hours, constant stress, and low pay wore him down. Prisoners tested him every day, and over time, the line between right and wrong started to blur. It began with something small. Marcus had offered him a few $100s to bring in cigarettes just once. Danny had said no at first, but when his wife's car broke down and the repair bill came, he changed his mind. He told himself it was harmless. No one would ever know. But in prison, one small favor never stays small for long. After that, Marcus started asking for more. Cell phones, extra food, even private information about cell searches. Danny tried to resist, but Marcus was clever. He didn't threaten, he promised. "Help me out, and I'll take care of you when you retire. You'll never have to worry about money again." At first, it felt like they had a secret deal. Danny convinced himself he was in control. But slowly, Marcus began to own him. Every favor, every secret delivery became another chain around his neck. One night, during a surprise inspection, Danny almost got caught. His supervisor found a wrapped package hidden under a trash bin in the guards' hallway, the same hallway Danny used. "What's this?" the supervisor asked. Danny shrugged, pretending he didn't know. The package was seized, but nothing traced back to him. Yet. He spent the rest of the week sweating through every shift, expecting to be called in for questioning.
But Marcus wasn't worried. He leaned against the bars and spoke calmly. "Relax," he said through the bars. "I got friends on the outside who make sure problems disappear." Danny realized then that Marcus wasn't just another inmate. He was connected to people beyond the prison walls. He was running an underground operation that reached into cities and neighborhoods, all from behind bars. That was when Danny understood. He wasn't smuggling for a friend. He was working for a boss.
The tension built with every deal. Danny started lying to his wife about working late. He avoided his coworkers. He even stopped making eye contact with the warden. But inside, guilt was eating him alive. He knew if the FBI or prison investigators found out, his whole career, his family, would be destroyed. Still, the money kept him going. Each drop-off paid more than his monthly salary, and Marcus always made him feel like a partner, not a pawn. Until one night, Marcus gave him an order that crossed the line. "Tomorrow," Marcus whispered, "I need you to deliver something big. Not cigarettes, not a phone. Something that changes everything. You're in deep now, Danny. Don't back out." Danny froze. "What are you talking about?" he whispered back. Marcus only smiled, a cold, knowing smile. "You'll see. You've already chosen a side." As Danny walked out of the cell block that night, sweat running down his neck, he finally realized there was no turning back. Whatever Marcus was planning, Danny was part of it now. and the next move would decide whether he stayed a guard or became a criminal himself. The next morning, Danny could barely eat. His stomach twisted as he thought about Marcus's words from the night before. Something big. You're in deep now. When he got to the prison, the air felt heavier than usual. The sound of metal doors clanging shut echoed like warnings in his head. Every step down that long gray hallway made him feel like the walls were closing in. Marcus was already waiting during morning rounds. He leaned against the bars, calm and confident, like he owned the place. "You ready?" Marcus whispered. Danny swallowed hard. "Ready for what?" Marcus grinned. "Check your locker." During break, Danny opened his locker and froze. Tucked behind his uniform jacket was a small brown envelope. Inside were 2 photos and a folded piece of paper. One photo showed Danny and his family, his wife and kids at a park. The other showed Marcus with another inmate, both smiling like they had just won something.
"You're part of the system now. Deliver the next package from the laundry room to cell block D, vent 3. Do not fail." Danny's hand shook. He wasn't sure if Marcus had planted him himself or if someone else on the inside was working for him. Either way, the message was clear. Marcus had power both inside and outside the walls. That afternoon, Danny went to the laundry room. His heart raced as he saw a small black bag hidden beneath a pile of folded uniforms. He hesitated, glancing at the security cameras. He knew the cameras didn't record this corner. Marcus had picked the spot carefully. He opened the bag. Inside were packets of white powder sealed tight and a flip phone. His mouth dried. This wasn't contraband anymore. This was drugs. "God, what am I doing?" he whispered. But then he heard the sound of footsteps. Another guard was coming. Danny quickly stuffed the bag under his jacket and walked out, trying to look normal. At cell block D, he found the vent Marcus mentioned, vent 3, near the end of the corridor. He slipped the bag through the opening and kept walking, pretending to check the cells. 5 minutes later, Marcus gave him a small nod from across the room. The job was done, but the guilt wasn't. Later that night, Danny sat in his car, gripping the steering wheel. His phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "Payment received. Keep doing good work. You're earning your future." He wanted to throw the phone out the window. Instead, he hid it under the seat. The money kept coming, but so did the fear. He started noticing things. Unmarked cars parked outside his house, coworkers whispering, supervisors asking more questions than usual. He was starting to believe someone was watching him. And he was right. Inside the prison, the Internal Affairs Unit had begun an undercover operation. For months, they'd been tracking suspicious activity tied to Marcus Hill, extra deliveries, unusual communications, unexplained inmate transfers. Now, all signs pointed toward an inside leak. But they didn't know who yet. So they installed hidden cameras in certain hallways and started scanning staff bank accounts for sudden deposits. Danny didn't know it, but every secret he thought was hidden was already being uncovered. Meanwhile, Marcus was expanding his network. Using the smuggled phones, he was contacting gangs outside the prison, ordering drug shipments, arranging money transfers, and even influencing what happened on the streets. From his cell, he had more control than some free men, and Danny had become his most trusted link. One evening, Marcus called Danny over again. "You've done well," he said. "Now it's time for something bigger." Danny shook his head. "No more. I'm done." Marcus's smile faded. "You don't get to be done. Not when I own you." He reached under his blanket and slid out another photo, a picture of Danny's family again, but this time, the message on the back made his blood run cold. "If you stop, they pay the price." Danny's heart pounded. "What do you want?" he asked. Marcus leaned in, voice low. "I need the warden's schedule and the names of the officers on the next night shift. I'm planning a move, a big one."
Danny's face went pale. "You can't." But Marcus cut him off. "You'll do it, because now you're not just working for me, you're protecting them." Danny left the cell block trembling. He wanted to tell someone to come clean, but fear froze him. Marcus had eyes everywhere. If Danny spoke up, his family could be in danger. That night, as Danny drove home through the quiet streets, blue lights suddenly flashed in his rearview mirror. A police car pulled him over. He rolled down the window, his heart pounding. The officer leaned in. "Evening, sir. Just a quick check." Danny nodded nervously. "Sure, officer." But as the officer walked back to his car, Danny noticed something strange. The cruiser didn't leave. The lights stayed flashing behind him for a long moment. It felt less like a routine stop and more like a warning. He sat there in the dark, shaking, realizing something he'd been avoiding for months. He wasn't just in trouble with Marcus anymore. Law enforcement was closing in too. The following week, everything inside the prison felt different, colder, tenser. Rumors spread like wildfire. Inmates whispered in the halls, guards looked over their shoulders, and the warden's office stayed locked more than usual. Something big was happening, and everyone could feel it. Danny tried to keep his head down. He followed his normal rounds, avoided Marcus, and told himself this nightmare would end soon. But deep down, he knew it was too late. That morning, before roll call, a notice went out. All staff must report for random inspections and interviews. Danny's stomach dropped. It wasn't random, it was a trap. He walked into the briefing room where two investigators in plain clothes waited. One of them introduced himself quietly. "Agent Lewis, FBI. Sit down, Officer Stevens." Danny froze. "FBI?" The man nodded. "You've been helping us without knowing it. We've been watching Marcus Hill for 6 months, and we know everything you've done."
Danny's throat tightened. I didn't mean to." Agent Lewis leaned forward. "You smuggled phones, you moved drugs, you leaked information. We have footage, transactions, and texts. But here's the thing, you're not our target. Marcus is. Help us finish this, and maybe you walk out a free man." Danny's mind spun. The room felt smaller by the second. If Marcus finds out, he already suspects, so we need to act fast. That night, they set the trap. The FBI planted a fake shipment wrapped just like the ones Danny used to move. The bag looked real, but inside was a hidden tracker and a recording device. Danny's job was simple: deliver it to Marcus as usual, then walk away. It sounded easy, but as he stood in front of Marcus's cell again, his hands trembling with the fake bag under his arm, it didn't feel easy at all. Marcus stared at him through the bars. "You look nervous, Danny. Something wrong?" "Just tired." Marcus's eyes narrowed. He took the bag, turned it over, and smirked. "Good. You did what I asked." "Yeah, it's all there." Marcus nodded slowly. "Good man." But as Danny walked away, Marcus called out, "Funny thing, one of my guys said he saw feds around here today. You wouldn't know anything about that, would you?" Danny froze mid-step. His pulse thundered in his ears. "I don't know what you're talking about." Marcus smiled darkly. "Sure you don't." The next 24 hours were chaos. Hidden microphones picked up Marcus making calls on the smuggled phone, calls to gang contacts on the outside. He bragged about new shipments, about having a guard in his pocket. That was all the FBI needed. Before sunrise, the warden gave the order. Teams of officers stormed Marcus's block, cell doors slamming open, flashlights cutting through the dark. Marcus barely had time to hide the phone before they dragged him out in handcuffs. "Marcus Hill, you are under arrest for conspiracy, smuggling, and running a criminal organization from federal custody." Marcus laughed as they pulled him down the hall. "You think this ends with me? You've got no idea how deep it goes." But when his eyes met Danny's across the corridor, the laughter faded. "I trusted you," Marcus hissed. "You were one of us." Danny didn't answer. For the first time in months, he felt free and empty. Days later, the investigation results hit national headlines. Federal guard arrested in prison corruption scandal. Danny's name was everywhere. The FBI had cut him a deal for cooperating, but his career was over. He stood outside the courthouse, staring at the reporters shouting questions. He didn't say a word. Behind him, his wife and kids waited silently, unsure what to feel. relief, anger, or heartbreak. Inside the prison, new rules were put in place. More cameras, stricter searches, better screening for guards. But everyone knew corruption didn't just vanish, it only hid, waiting for another weak link. Months later, Danny sat alone in a small apartment far from his old town. No badge, no uniform, no second chances. He watched a news clip of Marcus Hill's sentencing, life in prison with no parole. The reporter mentioned how Hill's criminal empire had stretched across 3 states, all from behind bars. Danny turned off the TV. He felt both guilt and strange peace. He'd finally stopped the man who once controlled him, but he'd also destroyed himself in the process. He looked down at his shaking hands, the same hands that once held the keys to the prison. Now, they were empty. That night, as he walked to the window, he thought he saw a car parked across the street. Dark windows, engine off. He stared for a long time. Maybe it was nothing. Or maybe Marcus still had people out there, watching, waiting. Danny closed the curtains and whispered to himself, "It's over." But deep down, he knew the truth. Inside or outside, the walls never really go away. The story of John Danny Stevens and Marcus Hill shows how easily power can twist behind prison walls, where one choice can turn a guard into an inmate and loyalty into a weapon. In America's prisons, corruption doesn't always come from the inside out. Sometimes it's invited in. If you believe real justice means shining light on the truth, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this story, because every hidden cell has a story waiting to be told.